KMES English Medium Junior College welcome its students for the online lectures of philosophy for Standard 11. For the chapter 1, what is philosophy? Why philosophy? For the topic, method of philosophy. Method of philosophy. The scope of philosophy is very wide. But philosophy raises questions. The three main questions that is raised by philosophy are: what is? Second, how do we know that which is? Third, how does that knowledge affect our life and behavior? So, philosophy asks in-depth and systematic questions. It do a critical examination. So, critical examination is an important characteristic of philosophical method. To examine is to understand an opinion and thought or an idea presented to us by different questions without accepting it blindly. For example, the term democracy. Here we have to examine the meaning, the nature, the type and the history of philosophy. Democracy. The work of philosophy is to conduct such examination by analyzing the concept, meaning, fact and interrelations. The concept of democracy involves government and people. Question that comes is, what is people, what is government, what is state, and what is government of the people mean? Philosophy do not make use of superstition, faith, imagination or empirical science to attain comprehensive understanding of subject matter. But philosophy uses a unique method to attain this goal, and that unique method is reason. Intellect is the chief device used by philosophy. The method of philosophy guides us how to use this intellect device efficiently. The different method of philosophy is method of analysis, method of dialogue, method of debate, method of manada and method of doubt. Let's study each of these methods in detail. Method of analysis. Philosophy uses this method very widely. The method of analysis in philosophy is used by analyzing the thought, idea, concepts and theories. To analyze the thoughts, idea, concepts and theories, philosophy uses logical reasoning. To analyze is to identify. To identify various elements of compound by segregating them and to understand them. We know that the importance and the analysis of chemical compounds in chemistry. But in empirical science, the experiment is conducted in the laboratory setup to use the analytic method. But this is not so in philosophy. In philosophy, analysis is done by abstract concepts. The investigative setup is already present in the brain. It won't be wrong to say that our brain is a laboratory accessible to us 24/7. It keeps chunking our information, thoughts, beliefs that come across. We use analytic method when we consciously try to unearth root and structure of all these things. The word man, human being, does not have any constituent element as such, but it points at a concept that is generally understood. The concept can be analyzed into other constituent concepts. Human to analyze man. Concrete. Human being is bipedal, rational, social. This is the definition of man. Abstract, thinking, understanding and reacting. This method used by the ancient Greek thinker Socrates to find out the definition of the concept. The concept cannot be defined until we clearly gain the understanding of it. The analytic method helps us to bring about the clarity refrain. It washes away the confusion of thoughts. Although this method come in handy, a trend of philosophical thinking called analytic philosophy emerged in the 21st century. This philosophy proclaimed analysis to be a solo function of philosophy. So the function of analysis is, it helps us to bring clarity in our thought. It washes away the confusion. Thought, though it is common method, a trend of philosophy thinking call it as an analytic philosophy. Method of dialogue. All human beings are naturally blessed with intellectual facilities. But everyone's capability bears different limits. Everyone lives intellectually normally does not display equal efficiency in every field. Some are good in mathematics, some excel in language, some people are talented in sports, some people talent lay in the arts. The development of our intellectual is greatly affected by our socio-cultural environment. One might be able to conduct a holistic study of a particular subject. Collective thinking proves to be more fruitful in such a case because multi-dimension of a subject can be simultaneously studied. Also, our thinking becomes more inclusive and well-balanced due to the awareness of diverse perspectives on the subject matter. Collective methods carry a great weight of discipline, such as philosophy, which does not use empirical observation, experimentation and verification. In this way, philosophization gets less influenced by personal judgment and prejudice. Both Indian and Western philosophy use the method of dialogue in ancient times. Ancient India has a tradition of obtaining knowledge by staying in a company of guru, teaching. The chief medium of imparting knowledge in this time was dialogue among the teacher and his discipline. A teacher aids the discipline on the path of knowledge by answering their queries, questions, counter questions. Upanishad is one of the most essential texts in Indian philosophy. In many Upanishads, philosophical thought is presented in the form of dialogue. For example, the dialogue between Swetaketu and Udalaka. Even Bhagavad Gita is in the form of dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. The Western philosopher Socrates used the method of dialogue with remarkable effectiveness. He asked various questions to the listener participating in a range of topics. What is virtue? What is justice? People confidently step forward to answer the simple questions. Socrates sanitized their answer, pointed out the hidden thing in it, and make them to think future. At the end of this dialogue, people realize their ignorance on intellectual in academia. They more or less moved from confusion to clarity. Plato, the discipline of Socrates, also used the method of doubt. He wrote his reflection down as dialogue instead of writing philosophical theses or essays. Method of debate. Ancient Indian tradition used the method of debate. Method of debate is known as Vada. A Vada is not a verbal fight. It is well organized ancient method of finding truth used by the ancient Indian philosophies. Vada Sabhas were organized in order to conduct the decision by the method of Vada. The two groups were formed with opposite views. These two groups used to debate on opposing view on the subject matter. A topic is being selected. Then the Vadi means the party that chooses to put forward the view first, present his paksha, means his view. Then the Prativadi means the opposing party challenge the Vadi presented by the counter, presenting counter argument, and later put forward his own view. The Vadi and the Prativadi explain each other's argument with a critical disposition. Even the spectator could participate by asking questions. These spectators were called as Prashnika. There is a chairperson who moderates the activity of the entire session. This person is known by the name as Sabhapati. The Paksha that succeed in making a strong appeal to reason was finally declared as winner. This discrimination might apparently sound like the debate competition of today, but that was not the case. The purpose of Vada Sabha was to discover the truth of the given matter by means of deliberation. Both the parties openly concede if they agree with each other's views. Agreement wasn't considered a sign of defeat. Faulty argument, unverified information is pointed out and were withdrawn. Additionally, both parties were allowed to reappear in the Vada Sabha with better preparation. Ancient Indian traditions acknowledge the fact that open-mindedness and an atmosphere of freedom are indispensable for the acquisition of knowledge. But some people participate in debate with a competitive ambition. They were most interested in winning against their opponent. Such competitive debates were called as Jalpa. Some others prefer to argue for its own sake. They enjoy rhetoric of their opponent argument without presenting their own. This kind of debate were called Vidanda. But research of truth remained the center focus of the genius Vada. Method of Khanada Manada. Khanada Manada is one of the methods that reflects the ancient Indian tradition of treating the views with respect. This method used in the writing of text first systematically introduced the opinion of those who oppose the opinion of the author. This was called Purva Paksha. The refutation of this Paksha using proper argumentation was called as Khanada. Then in Uttar Paksha, the view of the author were put forward and supported with argument. The enduring conclusion was known as Siddhanta. The investigation of a third, more fair outlook for the coalitions of two contradictory outlooks was also used in Western tradition and was known as dialectical method. They are a definitive, final answer to questions studied under philosophy like mathematics or science. Purva Paksha lead to Khanada, that lead to Uttar Paksha, that lead to Siddhanta. So this is Khanada Manada method. Method of doubt. René Descartes, a French philosopher, utilized the method of doubt in modern Western philosophy. I doubt with negativity. Indulging in doubt is considered rude. One must, however, understand that in philosophy, doubt does not bear a negative consequence. It is not a person that is doubted in a philosophical exchange. Instead, everything present as knowledge and the supportive argument are doubted. Descartes' time was influenced by the trend of philosophy called Skepticism. The skeptics used to vehemently reject the possibility of knowledge that is refutable, held true that all the time in all places. Being a student of mathematics, geometry and science, Descartes was certain that such knowledge is possible. He set out to prove this possibility by using the method of doubt. Descartes tries to find out if there is any truth that simply cannot be doubted. Questioning one after the another all truth he has hitherto experienced or learned. He realized that all this can be disputed. Why even the existence of the world can be doubted and disputed. But by the end of this process, he arrived at one truth that lay beyond doubt. I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum, Latin word. Descartes indicates that everything can be doubted except the existence of the doubter. The act of doubting presupposes the existence of someone who doubts. He discovered many such truths and tried to fortify the foundation of knowledge. History of philosophy is in depth to the doubt. So far that the doubtful question attitude encourages us to be critical in our thinking. Blind belief is an experience. Opinion thought can deceive us. Occasionally doubting is healthy practice in the process of gathering knowledge. So, philosophy might have various answers and none of them reject without even research. Every answer is a systematic explanation compared with other possible answers. The process is endless. The question changes with changing time and circumstances. So do the answer. Thus one can presume answer obtained by him or her to be most perfect or final. Such would hinder the progress of philosophy.